Good
Hello,
evening,
Nasiba.
dear all. Hello, Marhabo. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. Thank you for joining the webinar. Yeah, we are extremely happy to welcome you and wish you a very successful new year and all the best in the coming year. Thank you so much for
The
joining.
same to you.
Yeah, thank you. And let me welcome also our audience, dear EWB members, followers, partners, yeah, who are watching us via Zoom and Facebook page. Thank you for being with us because, yeah, you are making our network really strong. You help us shape this network. You help us make this network more robust. And we once again wish you, everybody, yes, to have a great year ahead. And EWB Thursday webinar is live, and today is January 22nd. And today we are hosting a dynamic and wonderful English language instructor. Today she will be leading practical session titled Introduction to Social Emotional Learning, which is very trendy nowadays in inclusive education. And let us greet and meet Marhabo Kholmurodova, a dedicated EWB member. And yeah, she has so great professional journey, yeah, from being a teacher into growing a great international professional. And for those of you who are not familiar, yeah, with our speaker today, Marhabo Kholmurodova holds a bachelor's degree in linguistics, English and French from Khorog State University, Tajikistan, and she's a certified yes of education from the Aga Khan University, Pakistan. She's an English language instructor and teacher trainer at the University of Central Asia Schools of Professional and Continuing Education, actively contributing to English department projects. She's a 2018 Fulbright T Program Fellow at Claremont University, USA, and she has presented at the international conferences, including CADEC, and is a two-time EWB Master Workshop Grant recipient, and she was Innovative Teacher of the Year 2022, and she also holds an MA from MAT in American University in Central Asia, and many more, which is not yet possible to enlist during our today's webinar, but we welcome to ask your questions after her presentation today to Marhabo. And let us enjoy this webinar together, as we call it, investment time into our professional development. So please grab this opportunity and ask your questions about the topic, yes, to our speaker after her presentation today. Yeah, let's enjoy it. And over to you, Marhaba. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nasiba. It's great to see you, and it's great to see all here. Thanks for joining. Thank you for the great introduction. And today, as you have already mentioned, I actually presented this topic at the conference last year, and like many of the teachers who were the participants of that session, they gave really good feedback, and they liked the session very much. And I hope that after the session they did some other research on this important topic, as you have mentioned. So I'm sharing my screen right now, and here, as Nasiba has already mentioned about my master degree from the American University of in Central Asia, one of the courses, by the way, I finished last year, and one of the courses we took while studying there was inclusive education. And this topic, this subject was presented during that course, and I've learned a lot, and also of course did my own research and tried to implement all the strategies in my own classroom, and still implementing those strategies that I have learned from my professor Kaligulova. Thanks to her and to her module and sessions, I've learned a lot about social emotional learning in inclusive education. Today I wanted to share some, I wanted basically to share the components of social emotional learning, as well as, if time allows, I will also share some strategies that teachers can use in their classes. So we are English language teachers. I think most of the people who joined today are all English language teachers, but for implementing and for using social emotional learning strategies in the classroom, like, you don't need to be necessarily an English language teacher. I mean, any teacher can use these strategies to help students, kind of to help their students to be engaged and to find out about their mood, and to help them understand their own feelings in any classes, any subjects you teach. The lesson, like the session objectives here, are understanding the core competences of emotional learning, and just a second, and how these foster um, these foster an inclusive classroom. Also explore strategies for integrating social emotional learning competences into inclusive education to support students with diverse needs. So these are the objectives for today's session. Before we start, I want to request you to try to answer to these questions. You can maybe unmute yourself and speak, or you can just um, type in the chat box and let us know about your own opinion. What is social emotional learning? Why is it important? How do you think SEL impacts student social, emotional, and academic development? So let's try to share your own thoughts about these two questions. So feel free to speak or just share in the chat. Mhm. So I have one in the chart, one comment. Studies related to students' moods, feeling, behavior. Thank you so much. I don't see your name, but thank you so much. Yes, Nasiba has also shared her opinion. Is important to better understand students. SEL is important to better understand students. Thank you for sharing. If anybody else wants to answer, to share their answers, you are welcome to write in the chat. Yes, Zumrat. Thank you, Zumrat. Social emotional learning is a way of teaching where all students are equal. Thank you, Zumrat, for sharing. Um, Munawar, it's the way to understand students' emotion. Thank you. Yes. Tahmina, SEL is important to be closer with students. Thank you. And Nasiba, students are not only students, they are whole individuals with emotions, characters, etc. Yes. Uh-huh. Disabled people also have opportunity to learn and feel confident. Thank you, Zumrat. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your own thoughts on SEL and why it is important. So we had some definitions and also the importance of SEL in our classroom. Okay, thank you so much, and let's continue. So in this slide, I would like to make you familiar with the five social emotional learning competences. So as you see, we will start with the light blue, which is self-awareness. One of the social emotional learning competency the first one is self-awareness, and later we are going to look at the definitions. Responsible decision making is the other competency, relationship skills, social awareness, and self-management. So here we can see five core social emotional learning competencies. We may not, this is a really huge topic, very big, and as Nasiba has already mentioned, very important topic for all of us, for all the teachers to know. So I just recommend you to, after the session, do your own research as well and try to learn more about it, because in one session, I don't think I will be able to fully cover all things related to social and emotional learning. So I just recommend you strongly to do your own research as well. So if we look at the core competency number one, which is called self-awareness, is the ability to recognize emotions, understand their influence on behavior, and assess one's strengths and weaknesses. So if we look at the first competency, which is self-awareness, it's not only for the teachers, it's not only for the students, but it's also for the teachers. Like we as the teachers, as the leaders in our classroom, as educators, also need to be aware of this core competency. If we are able to understand our students' emotions, this will help us to understand why a student is behaving in certain way. Sometimes students come and they don't talk at all. So if we look at them, we recognize emotions they have, we will be able to determine why he or she is behaving this way. And we can assess their strengths and weaknesses. So this is the first one, and here there are some questions how to be self-aware. So these are questions we can practice. We can also give these questions to our students as well. Just for instance, you decide, you come into class, you give these questions, and you ask them to go home and think about the answer to these questions. It will take about 2, 3, maybe 3 minutes of your time. And next class, you can again maybe discuss the answers to these questions. How much influence do I have? How much can I change as an individual? What can I expect of other people and relationships? What is my worth? What and how much am I in control of? What do you do in response to unpleasant feelings and discomfort? What emotional states is my mind drawn to? What are my three important values? What helps me stay in balance? Is there something you are dreaming of doing but you are not working on it? So how to these questions can help us to be self-aware. Yeah. And now I have another question for you, and you can again share in the chart. How might self-awareness help students in an inclusive classroom? Before we discuss, I wanted to know your thoughts about this. So please share in the chart again. I have some other mm, also comments. from Latifa. It motivates students. Mavluda Zulfova helps students to do better in school, improves mental health, um, creates a positive environment. Thank you for sharing. Let's try to answer to this question. Let's take about 2 minutes to share. How might self-awareness help students in an inclusive classroom? So why should we help students to be self-aware if we ask them to question themselves, if we give them these questions and ask them to reflect on the questions? How can this help them? Zumrat, thank you for being very active. It helps students to recognize themselves. Yes, very important. And I would add here that not only themselves, but others too. Like it helps students to recognize themselves, to be aware of their own feelings as well as others, because in classes we usually have 16, 30, 35 students, sometimes 10 students. Self-awareness helps. Roshona Usmanova, thank you. Self-awareness helps students understand their emotions. As a teacher, helps me how to behave with my students, how to help them to overcome any challenges. Yes, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's see. Here, I would love to share um, one video with you. Self-management is the ability to regulate emotions, control impulses, and set and achieve goals. Let's try to watch this short video, and please note down important information for yourself.
When students are aware of their emotions,
Can you hear well the video?
they are
Yes.
better able to.
Thank you.
When students are aware of their emotions, they are better able to regulate them. They can learn how to manage stress and control their impulses. They are also better able to motivate themselves and work towards their personal and academic goals.
Self-management is not just understanding who you are, but what are you doing with that information? How do you behave? How do you use that information to achieve goals, to work hard towards things? How do you manage your feelings? So we talked about understanding your feelings and self-awareness, but what you do with that anger is about self-management. How do you turn your self-awareness and your feelings and your emotions into positive actions so that you can have agency and advocacy for what you believe? These are all part of self-management and critically important for not just school, but work and life itself.
As adults, as teachers, as parents, we're responsible for helping kids by creating a regulating environment. So for example, in a classroom, it's really important to think about your environment and how you're helping kids regulate. So if you have a chaotic classroom and there's always tons of noise and maybe you have stuff all over the walls and you're not really organized yourself, that might be chaotic to kids. When you walk into your own classroom, do you feel calm? Do you feel regulated? Do your kids come into that classroom feeling safe? Because that's number one. We have so many kids with trauma and they're coming from homes that we can't even imagine what they're going through, and they walk into a classroom already completely feeling dysregulated. So something as simple as greeting each student at the door, smiling, using their name, that helps calm and regulate kids. We know there's a lot more kids with challenging behaviors. So let's give them an appropriate way to regulate themselves. They know at any time they can go to the safe corner, sit in the beanbag, take deep breaths, and usually we can have visuals there to remind them.
So self-management, I think about, stop, think, act. With elementary children, it's very easy because they're often engaged in that play, whether it's at recess or through games. It's easy to have those conversations because of, conflicts that they have that we think are very minute, but for them are really great. With middle schoolers, I think through scenarios, going through skits and going through scenarios and really giving them real life examples versus having a fight or argument. What's the best way to address your conflict? What's the best way to communicate how you feel? That's an adult skill that you'll need for life. And I think we have to stop and really point out to kids, hey, this is not okay, there's a better way, or really allow them to manage the problem for themselves and just be there as a facilitator to guide that process.
I'm feeling really frustrated at Johnny again because he took my truck. Well, I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm not going to grab him back, or I'm not going to punch him because that's the wrong thing to do. So for little ones, it's teaching them that they have the control to take a breath, to take a moment and think about what they're going to do.
When we're talking about teaching self-management and how kids can practice that, we're really helping kids think through ways to stay focused and to stay engaged and persevere. So maybe during a math lesson, we're providing opportunities for them to work through multi-step problems and think through multiple solutions to those problems. We also may be asking students to think about how to control their impulses to shout out answers, really by giving them some norms and routines for how they can get their voice heard. We also want to encourage students to have their voice heard in positive ways. Having them at the table and having them feel heard gives them a better sense of who they are and how they can use their voice in positive ways. So we really believe elevating youth voice is an important part of helping students develop positive self-management and contributing to the greater good of the school.
Okay, so I hope that you took notes of some of the important information mentioned in this short video, and as you have noticed, the teachers, the educators, they have shared some techniques already. So from this short video, we can learn strategies to help students with social emotional learning in our classrooms. One of the let's say easiest technique they have mentioned is a smile at the door. If you have noticed, when students come, just smile and help greet them and smile. Right? This is a technique. This is not difficult to do. It's very easy, and we can do this. We can have and kind of implement this technique every day in the class. Or they also suggested corners. Like we have a special corner in our classroom. This is also a technique that can help us and our students to think about their own emotions and be self-aware. Try to be aware of what kind of emotion now the student has. So we organize corners and we can write there, don't think, act. Like this is a kind of a technique can also be used. Taking deep breath. Also, there are so many techniques, and hence to share immediately so that I don't forget, is that students come to class and you tell them, imagine you have a candle in your right hand, you have a candle, and in your left hand you have a flower. So it can be in any hand. Let's say right hand flower, left hand candle, and we ask the students to kind of breath in. We smell the flower. Take a deep breath. We smell the flower, and we blow the candle. We smell and we blow the candle. So this is also a very simple technique. If we notice students, if we recognize emotions and we notice their behavior, we can ask students to stand up and do this quick technique so that, to help them calm down and we continue the class. It will not take a lot of time. So here in these slides, I have emotions, vocabulary for self-awareness, for recognizing emotions, and for dealing with emotions, and being aware of our own behavior as well as students, it's very important we learn emotions, vocabulary related to emotions, positive emotions, neutral emotions like happiness, love, relief, calm, joyful, different adjectives. We teach them in class. Interest, curious, like surprise, amazed, and so and forth. So these vocabulary related to emotions are very important to teach in the class. Negative emotions, sadness, anger, fear, disgust, complex emotions. Sometimes we and our students have kind of mixed feelings and empathy driven feelings. So we need to make our students as well us aware of this related vocabulary. So the third core competency is social awareness, is the ability to understand and empathize with others, especially those from diverse backgrounds and perspectives. It includes recognizing social norms, understanding group dynamics, and appreciating the strengths and challenges of others in various contexts. So, social awareness. Let's watch again a short video, and of course, we take notes and we try to identify strategies and techniques offered in these videos.
Social awareness is a person's ability to recognize the emotions of other people. Social awareness involves understanding how those emotions can influence social situations. It also involves taking the perspective of others. It's important for a person to be able to understand another person's thoughts or feelings and why they might feel that way. Finally, social awareness involves the ability to read or understand social situations or cues. This means being able to understand and interpret what is happening in a social setting. Let's look at a scenario. This is Tom. These are his friends, Mike and Jeff. Mike, Jeff, and Tom are all taking the same online class. Mike and Jeff keep making funny noises while the teacher is trying to teach. The teacher is becoming upset and their classmates are getting annoyed with them. Reflection questions. Do you think Mike and Jeff understand how their behavior is making their teacher feel? Explain. How do you think their behavior is making their teacher feel? What do you think their classmates are thinking and feeling? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to follow us on social media at Lessons for SEL.
Thank you so much. I hope it helped you and it gave you an idea of what is social awareness. So, key components of social awareness and empathy, understanding and sharing the feelings of others, as it was also mentioned in the video, recognizing the emotions and needs of peers, especially those with different cultural or personal experiences, as we are talking about inclusive classroom. Perspective taking, seeing situations from another person's point of view, recognizing how cultural, social, or individual factors shape opinions and behavior. Respect for diversity, appreciating differences in abilities. We all teachers and we are aware that we have students with different abilities in our classroom, cultural backgrounds and experiences. Celebrating diversity as a strength in group and classroom dynamics. Awareness of social norms, recognizing and respecting appropriate behaviors in various social settings. Understanding unspoken rules in relationships and group interactions. And here maybe we discuss these two questions: social awareness skills. How do you handle conflicts or misunderstandings between students that arise from different cultural, linguistic, or personal differences? Can you share an example of a classroom activity or lesson you've used to teach empathy or respect for diversity? Maybe just a technique that maybe somebody is currently using or used in not a lesson, but just techniques and strategies from your own classroom. Please Thank you for sharing. I've just checked the
A ch-
the chart, and we have so many um, comments there. Thank you so much for your comments and for your thoughts. Yes, really, it influences to the process of the classroom.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Marhabo. Hello. Can you hear
Yes, Sadbark. We cannot hear you very well. I think
Hello.
you have, yes,
Hello. Hello.
yes, speak. Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can
Yeah.
hear.
Hello. Thank you,
Hello,
Marhabo. Hello,
hello.
everyone here. So interesting topic you have touched. I think that this is a thing that became very popular during last few years, and I think that it's because of stressed people around, you know. And I think that this is a very important topic, and it's very important to learn it because we have to control, we have to manage our emotions in order not to regret. Uh, as far as I know, there is a quote that says that something that is done or said in a anger brings
Mm,
to regret. Like, you know,
mm,
uh,
yeah.
and the same is in our class. Sometimes whenever we are emotions and it might hurt someone, or we may say some uh, bad things to our students, that it not only makes them sad, but we also lose as a teacher, we lose our authority, we lose our like respect that we have. And I think that
Mm,
it's very important to control ourselves. And I think that the teacher once during one workshop, um, I have learned that the teacher should be an actress in her lessons. Like whatever emotions, whatever stressful situation that we had at home, we should leave it at home, and we should come with a warm face, with the good mood to our students, and not in order it wasn't visible for them that we had that bad situation. And I know that it's not easy to control, but it is possible. When I heard it, that a teacher should be an actress in her lessons, and whenever I have problem at home, whenever I go to work, no, it's really, I feel first I touch in the breaks that we have between the classes. Like I just for 3 minutes, I can go out, breathe, look at the nature, and it
mhm,
calms me down.
mhm. Thank you so much, Sadbark, for sharing. I see hands, Tahmina. I see your hand if you want to share. Thank you, Sadbark.
Okay, good evening, dear Miss
Good evening.
Marhabo. At
Good
first,
evening.
I'd like to I'm very grateful for your insightful presentation, and I would like to share with my one experience which I have did in my classroom with my students in that school. In order to make a condition in a insightful or inclusive classroom, I used one more about the giving compliments to each of the
Uh-huh.
students.
Yes. Excellent
And
idea.
it was in warming up activity. I said I gave them the task to give to each of them or with their partner, to their peers, the compliments. Exactly, and actually, this activity changed automatically their mood. It affected to their behavior also. Their mood
Yeah.
became and in positive side, they increase their activeness during the lesson. And also, as Sadbar mentioned, we shouldn't show our stress and our emotion to our students.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes,
Okay,
very
thank you for
important. Thank you so much. And Mary, I see your hand too, and then we continue.
Yes, hello, dear
Hi.
Marhabo. Nice to meet you here. Nice to see you here, and
Nice to see
hello,
you.
everyone. Now, it is really very important topic for every teacher. You know that we have especially this challenge at our school that every teachers when they are going home they are going with a bunch of nervous. They are very nervous every day. You know that old teachers, I cannot say all teachers, but majority of all teachers, they are using traditional methods. As I'm working here, and I was started here at this school and also teaching here, my teachers are my colleagues now. And sometimes it is really difficult for them to use these new methods, and they always use shouting, always nervous. And I really would like that maybe you're sharing this topic on group, and I really want to help my school teachers that maybe I will present it in Tajik, that it's really help other teachers that I
Excellent.
always yes I my manager, my headmaster always said that, Mary, can you give some tips for us, bring some tips for us that you are not shouting, you are not saying bad words to students, but all students are listening to you. And I would like this topic
Excellent. Yeah. I think this is a great idea to share with with other teachers, this
to
topic.
students that students that they are very active, not
Yeah.
active for lessons, but they are very active for like they could not control self emotional. But teachers, they are shouted, all teachers shouted to them, and they are doing it more. And but I'm not shouting with them, but sometimes I let them free to do it. Sometimes when they are do it,
Thank
it
you.
would be shameless for them, and they are stopping. And then they're starting to listen and starting not and starting to behave me. And, uh, I always try to help teachers to bring such like this topic on group, and I think that this topic, your topic, will be very important for me. That maybe this Sunday I will share it in Tajik to my teachers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. I think this is a great idea to share. I see Roxona's hand, and please, Roxona, keep it short. Roxona? Thank you for your comments. Also in the chat box, I noticed so many comments. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas and your thoughts on this. So let's continue and look at the core competence number 4, which is relationship skills. The ability to establish and maintain healthy relationships, communicate effectively, and resolve conflicts constructively. And I have a video also for you, a short video to watch, and of course, take notes and learn things from this video.
A child's future ability to succeed in the workplace, become a leader, and achieve long-term happiness will depend in no small part on their ability to build positive relationships. Students who learn to communicate clearly, cooperate with others, and constructively negotiate conflict are well on their way to future success.
We've talked about self-awareness, which is understanding yourself, and then social awareness, understanding others. So getting into relationship skills is really then, okay, now you're interacting. I'm not just standing over here thinking, I wonder what you're feeling, I wonder what you're thinking. I'm actually using that information to engage.
In the classroom, there are lots of opportunities for kids to work together in pairs, to work in small groups, to work in large groups, so that they can actually practice this. So we can intentionally teach them explicitly, how do you disagree? How do you agree? How do you be respectful in giving your opinion? How do you take on an active role on a group project? So sometimes before you actually engage kids with a group, you talk a little bit about, what are you going to do if one person is doing more than their share of work? How are you going to respond when one person doesn't seem to be contributing? What are the different roles that we have as part of this group? Who's going to be taking notes? Who's going to be making sure we stay on task? Who's going to be keeping time? Who's going to make sure that the conversation keeps moving? So we can actually teach kids how to be productive members of a group and give them lots of opportunities in every class to work in groups.
You've probably heard quite often the idea of project-based learning or problem-based learning. And so that's not just your typical project, we're gonna build something together. It's actually thinking about, okay, let's take our learning and apply it to a real-world problem, and then as a group, we're gonna solve that. And it's a wonderful way because kids are learning content, they're learning standards, but they're also learning relationship skills. How do we work together? How do we decide who does what role? How do we figure out when we're successful? What if we make a mistake? What if we don't agree with someone? How do we navigate that?
It's important to build relationship skills with your children because it does foster trust. When kids feel that they can come to you and they could talk to you about anything, they're less likely to go to their peers and get the wrong answer sometimes. But it's important to play games with your children. I think sometimes as parents we get so focused on the day-to-day tasks that we forget to have fun. For example, it can be reading a book or watching certain TV programs or going to the movies or going bowling, things that will bring you together and bring you out of your comfort zone. I think sometimes it's easy to just kind of fall into a routine in the system and just think, hey, we're together and that's okay. But it's important to spend time and be very specific about how you spend time so that that time allows for communication.
We want to have healthy relationships with our partners, with our children, with our friends. We know that a social network and positive relationships helps us mitigate against stress, against illness. It increases our longevity. Positive relationship skills are critically important.
Okay, so here, as you have already yourself watched and listened, the teachers again suggested so many strategies to incorporate in our classrooms. And for example, having more group work activities, small group activities, pair work, project-based learning, problem-based learning, as well as in our own houses with our own children playing. Spending some time with our kids, playing games, watching movies, and going somewhere, watching TV, just together with our kids can also help us build relationship. And the last competency, which is responsible decision making, core competency number 5, which is responsible decision making, the ability to make ethical, constructive choices about personal and social behavior. It involves identifying problems, evaluating consequences, and considering the well-being of oneself and others before taking action. So this is the last competency of social and emotional learning, which is called responsible decision making. And problem number 1, let's look at the key components of responsible decision making: problem identification, evaluation of consequences, ethical consideration, personal responsibility, reflection on outcomes. And we can see that they also consist of other parts. If we look at the first one, recognizing issues that require a decision. First, we need to able to recognize the issue, right? We need to identify the problem, understand the context and stakes involved, and so and forth. So the role of social and emotional learning in inclusive classrooms, key points. SEL competencies provide students with the skills they need to navigate a diverse classroom environment, fosters a supportive and safe space where all students feel valued and included, encourages mutual respect, empathy, and understanding, helping reduce conflicts and increase cooperation. Here is the required reading. I will share my presentation with EWB team, and they will, I think, post it in the website, and you can have access to the slides, and also later I still have some other slides where you can find more videos, links to the videos you can watch and learn more strategies. I also have lots of strategies here, but as we are short of time, as I have already mentioned at the beginning, I cannot cover everything in just 1 hour session, because this is a really big topic and subject to discuss. So therefore, you will have access to all the materials and other strategies. I will just show you some of those techniques that we can use in our classroom. For example, we show them emojis, right? How we call them. And when students come, we can ask them to tick how they feel at the beginning. And when leaving, we can ask them again, go back to the emotions and tick how you feel now. And many more strategies and techniques. The adjectives, as I already told you, adjectives related to emotions, will a kind of this is called emotional wheel, which can also be found. You can find it in the internet and search it, find it there. And here, if for example the student is sad, we have two activities for the student who is sad. The student can choose one of these activities and help him to overcome his feeling. Or hurt, express your pain. So we can talk to a friend. Here are different strategies for the students to work on their emotions. Also videos, different activities which you can use in your classrooms too. You can watch them later, and you can use them in your own classrooms. I'm just showing you what strategies and techniques I have here. So you will be able to watch them later when everything is uploaded. Different activities.
Great.
I'm
Thank you
just
so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Marhabo. That was really both informative and also insightful. Thank you. I hope that the teachers who attended today's session were able to grasp, yes, the main idea of what is EL, yes, and how they can incorporate it in their daily teaching. Thank you so much, and let us open the floor to questions and answers. So we have several questions in our chat box, and of course, Zoro, if we have any questions from our Facebook audience, please, let us know about those questions as well. So far, several questions. Let's start with Mavluda's question. What are some strategies to implement empathy in schools?
For instance, the videos we watched so that students feel empathetic towards each other. They first of all need to be aware of their own feelings. If we recognize our own feelings, we will be able to recognize other people's emotions and to other people's. If we know, if we are again aware of their emotions, this will help us to understand their own behavior, understand their own feelings, and help students help students to overcome those difficulties, situations, negative situations they are encountering. For example, we can prepare cards, or we can use that wheel which I have just demonstrated. It suggests different activities. Talk to a friend, one that I have just read, or take a walk. For example, take a walk, have some time, or corners, as they have mentioned also. We ask the student to go, we organize corners in the classroom. We ask them to sit and think. If, for example, they have conflicts with each other, if they have misunderstanding, we can kind of ask them to go and sit in the corner and reflect on their emotions and feelings they have at that time, for example.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marhabo. Next question. Uh, what is the first step for a teacher to become more self-aware?
I think before we, as I have already mentioned at the beginning, these the questions that I demonstrated, I displayed. I think these questions are not only for the students, but for us, for the teachers. First, we need to reflect on ourselves. We need to ask the questions. For example, students behave a certain way, and we don't blame the students, but maybe we ask us the first question: why is this student behaving this way in my classroom? We can also talk to our colleagues, if we teach at the same school, and do some research whether the student is behaving the same way in other classes too, or it's just in my class. So I think the first step is to question yourself, and then gradually you can start helping students, uh, kind of making them familiar with these questions, and helping them to question themselves too. Or if they have conflicts, they can both can go to the corners and ask them some questions, reflect on their own behavior. So the same with the teachers. I think the first step is to reflect on your own teaching style of teaching, of um, how and why this happens, and so and forth. I think, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so next question. Can we teach CLL, yes, in our regular lessons? If yes, then
I
how we
think
can
yes.
teach it?
I think yes. We can incorporate these competences gradually, slowly, step by step. We can start. We don't. I don't think that we need to tell the students the theory. I don't think we can give them some, for instance, some questions to reflect on, some, bits of information, but not the whole theory. We can start with simple techniques, the one that I said. Before you start your class, before you start your lesson, you can do one simple technique, as I said, candle and flower. Oh yeah, you just say you don't necessarily tell them that this is core competency number 3, but you can just start incorporating the techniques, and help them this way, help them be aware of this big theme. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we have more questions. So which means, like, teachers are really interested in this, yes, topic. So next question is coming from Natya Natya Davitashvili. So she is asking, how can CL be adapted for different age groups? I'm more interested in teenagers because this age group is the hardest to navigate and handle. They aren't open to different kinds of conversations and simply don't participate in specific activities.
Mm. Um, I think as a teacher, yeah, we do teach teenagers too, and I think most of the teachers have problems with teenage students, as at this stage of their life they are experiencing mm, as I previously mentioned, they have mixed kind of feelings all the time. Like for 2-3 minutes they are happy, and for the other 2-3 minutes they are sad. I think again we can let's say have group work. We try to as in the video, one of the videos, the teachers said that having more group works, assigning roles, which is so also very effective with teenagers. You give them specific instructions so that they know what are they doing. I think specific instructions, both written and also said, and also written, I think is very important, because they may say, I don't remember what you said. You can draw their attention to the board on the screen that for example, the instruction is there. Assigning roles, having them see, the specific instructions they have in class, who is responsible for what, or are all students responsible for one thing, or different students are responsible for different things. So I think with teenagers we need to be very specific, and we need to give very specific instructions. We also try to use mixed groups in our classes. We try to involve them in problem based, project based, problem based, like having more projects, using more project works can also help them. And if they also have roles and specific instructions and specific tasks to fulfill, I think this helps. This is from my own experience. I'm not an expert on social and emotional learning. I didn't do any research on that. I mean, I haven't done any research, but this is what I have learned while doing my master degree, and from the teachers, from the professors who taught me. I think for being more, let's say, equipped with how and why and how do we deal with such kind of students, and how do we do that, we can do more research. As this was just an introduction to social emotional learning, the objective was to be familiar with the 5 core competences of social and emotional learning.
Yeah, thank you, Marhabo. Exactly, because teachers are nowadays facing a great many challenges, related to CLL, yes, and therefore, so many questions we got today. So Salbark is asking, why is self-awareness important when giving feedback to students?
Why is self-awareness
Awareness.
important for
For giving
students?
feedback to students.
Okay, so let's say when we self-awareness is important because again I go back to the first slide where it was mentioned that where it was written that when students are self-aware, they understand. So when they are aware of their own strengths and weaknesses, they understand their own behavior. If they are able to understand their weaknesses and their strengths, they will, I think, they will accept what the teacher told them to work on, what the teacher, let's say, recommended them to pay attention to more, I think. If students are not able to recognize their own emotions and their own weaknesses and strengths, it will be harder to give them feedback, to make them think of what is the next step for them to do, to accomplish.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Roxana, I think we can ask your question because like we are a little bit over time. How do you solve conflict? She's asking, how do you solve conflict peacefully in your class? And I think like Roxana faces this kind of situation quite often in her class.
Yeah, I haven't, from my own experience, I can't say that like I had conflicts in my own classroom. I don't remember the time when I had conflicts in my own classroom. Maybe this means that I haven't experienced this kind of behavior in my own classroom. But first, I will try to understand. The first thing, I think if I face this situation, if I encounter this situation, I will first try to understand what is happening. I think in this situation, we need to be the first thing we do is to calm down the students. As you are the teacher, you are the boss in your classroom, yeah? You try to first calm down the students, and you need to be a good listener, to listen, to understand. The first thing is to try to understand what is happening, and then to talk to the students separately. I think it's good if we hear both sides. We don't make immediate conclusions. We try to listen to both sides, and we try to talk to them individually, and then we can discuss together. We can also invite both and discuss together and try to find out what is the reason why this happened. And this way we can find ways of how can we, what can we do next? Yeah. This is maybe how I would um, solve this problem.
Thank you so much. So, and maybe the last question, we can also afford one more. Muqaddam is asking, how do we teach social emotional learning for teenagers? Yes, how we can start, what we can
Yeah,
do.
as I think somebody else also asked this question. I think, again, I will repeat myself, they don't need to be aware of, like, I don't think we need to give them all the theory and research articles and everything. We just, as I said, we can start with very simple techniques. And if you, as we were short of time, I had in the slides lots of strategies and techniques of how can you start. Maybe when you have access to the slides in the website, you can then learn lots of techniques from those slides and videos. How can you start? Just, with very simple techniques, you can help them or recognize their own emotions. And I wanted to say something else, but I forgot. Yeah. So
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
that's
much,
it.
Marhabo. Yeah, thank you. And I'm sure, like, the strategies you shared today and also the techniques will be very useful. Yeah, we will be yes, we will be happy to share your material with our audience.
Mhm.
And of course, yeah, and I think like, before even like, introducing these topics, the teachers should learn themselves what is CLL and how they can use it, yeah, in their classroom. Because when we know something, then, and when we are familiar with something, when we know about the tools, techniques, then we can easily use it in our class. Yeah, thank you so much, dear all. We really appreciate your time, your energy, your active participation, and our huge thanks to our wonderful speaker today, to Marhabo, yeah, for sharing this topic with our audience. And of course, yeah, we will be happy to hear from you once you start using CLL in your classroom and how it's changing, yes, your classroom, and yeah, transforming your students to become more aware students, and yes, to be socially, emotionally intelligent students. Thank you so much, dear all. Please stay alert and don't miss EWB webinars and other online activities that we usually have. And we will be happy to see you again tomorrow at our speaking club in our Telegram group. And in the meantime, thank you so much once again, Marhabo, and thank you so much, dear all, who are joining this webinar series from different parts of the world, particularly Natya, who is joining us regularly from Georgia. Yeah, yeah, we have big respect to you, and thank you so much, dear all. Thank you. See
Thank
you.
you so much, Nasiba, for your invitation, and thank you for all who took part, who were very active during the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Likewise.